Hello everyone. Welcome back to our final video in the series of creating and uploading an Amazon WorkSpaces BYOL image. In part 1 of this video, we installed and configured the Amazon command line interface. We then created an S3 bucket. And in this video, we're going to pick up right where we left off with that bucket. And then we're going to take a look at the prerequisites and the permissions needed for creating our VM import role. We're going to start our copy of our image from our local machine up to that S3 bucket. We're going to look at then how we take and make that image that is in our S3 bucket into a WorkSpaces and WorkSpaces Core image. So with that, let's pick up right where we left off. So now that we have our S3 bucket created, we do have to create a VM import role in Identity and Access Management. I do have a document here that talks about the permissions as well as the steps to create the role and policy required. I will link that in the video description below. I have already done most of this work in Notepad++. Feel free to use your editor of choice. If we look at the web page, you can see we have our service role. I have copied and pasted that into Notepad++. As well as, if we scroll on down, I have already done the role policy. Now, one of the things you will notice is we do have to replace a value there for our S3 bucket name that we created earlier. Again, I have already done this off camera, just to minimize typing. So I'm going to minimize Notepad++. I'm going to go ahead and open my command prompt where I have changed directories into the folder where I stored the files that we talked about earlier. I'm going to go ahead and paste in this command for AWS IAM create role. I'm going to give it an argument of create role name. That role name needs to be VM import because that is what the role that we assume when we go to do the import. I'm going to pass it the trustpolicy.json along with my profile. Now you will notice in my environment, I do get an error message because I already have that role created. I am next going to issue a put role policy command for the policy that we created a moment ago, where we gave it access to our S3 buckets. And you can see that command issued successfully. Now that we have our VM import role and policy created, we can move on to copying our image to the S3 bucket. Now this image is the one that you followed along either with me in VMware Workstation or my colleague Dave in Hyper-V and created. In my case, I am going to be working with that OVA. I'm going to minimize my web page. I'm going to open up my file explorer, and you can see I have that image sitting in the folder that we've been working with our other files. So here I am going to paste in the command to copy this image from this folder up to the S3 bucket that we created earlier. Again, calling the profile. At the end of the S3 bucket, I am going to put this into an S3 key that we will use later on when we import the image. So I'm going to go ahead and kick this copy off, and this will take just a while. So I will fast forward the video to the point where we are done copying and have that image in the bucket. Now that our image has finished copying to the S3 bucket, we can go over to the AWS console, click on S3, navigate to our bucket that we created earlier. You can see there is our S3 key, and if we navigate one level deeper, there is our image. Now that we have our image in our S3 bucket, we can move on to the next step, which is importing that image into Amazon's Elastic Compute Cloud, or EC2, as an Amazon Machine Image, or AMI. I'm going to move over to the documentation, and as you can see, we do have to create a JSON file that we will use with the command that we run to start that import process. That JSON file does need to contain a description, the file format that you are working with. Again, in our case, I am doing an OVA, the S3 bucket that your image is in, and then the key as well as the name of your image. I have already done this off camera. I copied the text, put it into Notepad++, made the necessary changes, such as adding a description of Windows 11, making sure the file format is OVA, adding my bucket, along with my S3 key and name of the OVA file. I'm going to minimize this and jump over to the command prompt. I'm going to go ahead and paste in the command. As you can see, we're calling AWS EC2 import image. We're giving it a description. We're calling the disk container argument, pointing it to our JSON file, adding in the flag for boot mode, as this is Windows 11. It is important that if you are importing Windows 11, you do call boot mode and you add in UEFI. If this is Windows 10, you can leave it as default with no boot mode. And then my profile. So now that I have called that command, you can see that has kicked off, and we are left with some information here. The important part of this information is import task ID, as we are going to use it in the next command that we run. The next command we're going to run, I'm going to go ahead and paste the partial command in the command line there. You can see we are describing the import task, and we need the import task ID. So if we quickly copy this import task ID, we go back into the quotes, we paste that in, we can now monitor the import task, which will take a few minutes to complete. So I will pause the video and wait for this to complete, and then I will be right back and we will finish up this process. As you can see, the import completed successfully. We want to make note of our image ID, so that way we can filter in the AWS console to find this image to verify that it is an Amazon machine image now. We're going to head over to the AWS console. We're going to navigate over to EC2. On the left-hand side, we're going to go to AMIs, and we're going to paste in that AMI ID. You can see it is there. We now want to edit the name of this, so that way we can find it in our next step of importing this into Amazon Workspaces. The final step in our process is to create an Amazon Workspaces BYOL image that we can use in the service. To do that, we are again going to copy the AMI ID. We're going to navigate over to the Workspaces console. We're going to go to Images on the left-hand side. We're going to say Create BYOL Image. We are going to paste our AMI ID. We are going to give this a name. For the description, I am going to copy and paste the name. You can decide to choose your instance type here, be it WSP, PC over IP. For this demo, I am going to choose WSP. And then we select Create BYOL Image. While this import is processing, I do want to kick off another import for our Amazon Workspaces Core BYOL image. To do that, I am going to use Cloud Shell. I am then going to go ahead and paste in the command that I typed off camera. We're going to hit Enter. And you can see now we have that import running. And if I refresh my screen, you can see they are processing. Now this will take a little while to process, so I'm going to pause the video here, and then we will wrap up as soon as that is done. And as you can see, both of our images are there. They're ready to be used. So you have now successfully created an Amazon Workspaces Core BYOL image. And there you have it, everyone. We have successfully taken an image that we created in VMware Workstation or Hyper-V, brought that image into the Amazon S3 bucket. We then took that image and made an Amazon Workspaces Core image out of it. As always, the links that I referenced during the video are here on the screen, but they will be linked down below. And with that, I want to thank everyone for watching this series. Let us know in the comments if you enjoyed this content and if you want to see more. And until the next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you again for watching.